I don't really know what I'm doing. Weird. I can't do it. And alright. Hey everyone, Jacob here. I'm just wanting to do an update on stuff, I guess. I don't know. I've had a lot of views on my most recent video, which is for the Apple Watch that I got. I'm loving it and I'm enjoying it just like before, except this one, the Series 2, I love that it has the GPS built in and the waterproof and all that. It's been really nice and a lot better to work with for running and keeping it on and random things like that. Just the small things I've noticed the watch helps a lot better with. Definitely tracks mileage better. All those different things, being able to see it on the map. I use the Nike Run Plus Club app as well as the regular Apple activity app. Both of those work great. So I'm not really here today to talk to you about the Apple Watch per se. The end of my last video, I shortly mentioned about me having a heart problem, and I'm sure some of you guys are kind of wondering exactly what that might consist of. After looking around on YouTube some, I noticed a bunch of different videos of people having heart issues and different things, but nothing necessarily exactly to my thing, I guess. I don't really know how to say it. So when I got my original Apple Watch, I got it as soon as they were all shipped for original pre-order dates last year, the end of April, mid to end of April. When I received that, all great and all that jazz. So what I decided to do, of course, was, oh hey, I'm gonna be healthy, let me go start running and jogging. At that point, I was around 185 pounds or so. Over the course of the time that I had that watch, I lost a good 40 pounds, 35, 40 pounds. I don't want to say it's the watch because it's obviously other things that I've learned from having had the watch. So basically, after I had that watch for the first week and exercising, I noticed, my heart rate was high, and I didn't think that was normal. I was never one to play sports or anything, so I didn't know exactly what the heart rate should be, but I felt like 205 beats per minute probably wasn't the safest thing. So after doing some Googling and stuff and finding out that people's average heart rates when exercising was like 160-ish or less for some cases if they were good at being athletic or whatever, I figured that after having my watch and noticing this for a week that I was going to contact my doctor. So basically I went in, saw my doctor, told him, hey, my heart's going this fast, what's going on? This probably doesn't seem right. And he said, yeah, I don't necessarily have the training in cardiology like some people do, but 205 is not a safe zone. So within 2 days, he had me in to see a cardiologist. Went in to see the cardiologist, sit down with him, and we're talking, and I tell him, oh, well, my heart rate's going really fast when I jog. Like, I'm not even running. Like, I'm going like 5.5 miles an hour, and it's a jog. And so I'm talking with him, and I'm like, well, it's because of my new Apple Watch. And the watch had only been out for like a week at that point. And he's like, okay, it's just technology. It gets to people's brains. It worries people. It's just this weird technology. Your heart rate really doesn't matter anyways. Everyone's heart rates do different things. Their brain controls it, and it all works out, and you're still alive, and it's great. Everyone has their own system. So after talking about that and listening to my heart and stuff, he said, just because I do have family history of some heart problems, he's like, we'll go ahead and put you under the camera, do an echo on you, and see if we see anything. I go in, lay down with this lady. She's, doing this, I want to say sonogram, that kind of thing. So basically, seeing my heart on a screen for the echocardiogram, and what I see looks normal, I think. I'm a pretty sciencey geek of a person, so I love watching health videos and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, that looks all right, I think. Well, that was all said and done. My cardiologist comes back in the room and he says, you know what, we looked at it and it turns out you have a bicuspid aortic valve. So I have BAVD, bicuspid aortic valve disease. I don't know why it's called a disease, because it's something you're born with. It's congenital. It's not like a bacterial infection, so it doesn't really seem like a disease, but I guess any abnormality of the heart is considered a disease. So I was diagnosed with that. My grandfather, he had it as well. My grandfather on my mother's side. So he didn't find out till he was in his 50s, and when he found out, he was having trouble and he had a problem and he had to have emergency surgery to get his valve replaced right then and there. So thankfully I'm finding this out. Well, I found out at the age of 24. I'll be 26 in 2 weeks. So going on the second year of knowing that I have this issue. So from that day that I found out, and the doctor was surprised and amazed that, oh wow, your Apple Watch actually helped you, and don't go telling Apple because they might use you as their poster child. I was like, that's funny, that'd be pretty cool. But I've seen a bunch of stories like this, so I'm sure nothing's more special or anything like that. But it's just really cool that this technology could kind of point out to something like that that's going on. So that's really my story. They told me that once a year I would have an appointment. So this past week I just had an appointment. It wasn't the greatest results that they said. The ascending aorta, which is basically where your heart goes up. Here's a picture my doctor drew. So you have the ascending aorta here, and it goes down to the rest of your body. So this valve here is my aortic valve, and it has 2 flaps instead of 3. 2 of the 3 valves are fused together. Because of that, it's weak and it's causing a backflow, and they call it regurgitation or an insufficiency. So some of my blood is going backwards at the same time that it's being pumped through my body. So it's actually causing my left ventricle to, over time, it'll weaken it because it's having to expand extra for the extra blood that's coming backwards instead of just keeping up to that 100% capacity. And that's the same thing for my aorta. Apparently my ascending aorta, it was 33 millimeters a year ago, and he told me you don't really want much more than 1 millimeter of a movement in size growth in a year if possible, because people get aneurysms and they bleed out and die internally within minutes. In this case, it's something you have to watch for. Well, apparently within the last year, my aorta grew at 3 millimeters, so it's just a little worrisome. After talking with him there were some different things that I've noticed when I run. Sometimes I'll get blurry vision. I'll notice my neck throbbing, I think from high blood pressure or something. Usually my blood pressure is perfectly fine, but I think just in that specific circumstance of my heart trying to keep up and all of that crazy stuff with the backflow, I think it's causing my ascending aorta to get too big too fast. For the specific measurement system that they use, there's something called Z-score. Apparently the Z-score, it's basically the mean average and plus or minus, give or take, where you are from that. So let's say the average person has a mean score of 0, and then whether you're better or worse, you're either going to be plus 1, 2, 3 or minus 1, 2, 3 from that. Like 95% of people would be within the -2 to the +2 range. Well, my Z-score is all the way at a +4. It's actually a +4.09. So that's a very high range on that scale that they use. So the next step that my doctor said, in 2 weeks or so after Thanksgiving break, I'm going to be going and doing a nuclear stress test. So basically that's going to be me getting some metal isotope stuff, I'm not 100% sure yet, nuclear stuff injected into my bloodstream. And it's gonna go around and they're gonna put me under a system and scan my heart for a couple minutes, and then they're gonna throw me on a treadmill and have me run and get my heart up as much as possible. They have a side note on one of my notes They said, we will schedule for you to undergo a stress test. With the stress test, we will need you to exercise harder, longer, and faster than you will at any other point and at any other time. This is our chance to see if we can bring out a heart-related problem that would be dangerous. So basically, I'm going to be running my butt off on this treadmill, and hopefully I am not going to die, but if I do, thankfully I'll already be in a hospital when I do the test. So I'll do that, and then right at the end of that, they'll inject me with more of this radioactive stuff and put me under the cameras again and take some more shots to see what might be going on. Apart from that, instead of having a checkup in another year, I'll be having a checkup in 6 months. And so in that 6 months, they're going to do an MRA scan, which is like an MRI, but it's going to be specifically of just like my aorta and the upper section of my heart, I guess is what I understand. So they'll be able to get even more specific measurements that way than they would from doing the echocardiograms. So that's what I'm waiting for. And my results aren't so great because it was 3 millimeters of growth, so I'm kind of nervous to see what's going on, but it's, yeah, I don't know. At some point I'll probably have to get an aortic valve replacement. They had told me probably not until mid-40s or 50s, if ever, depending on how my story goes. Right now, with 3 millimeters of growth in 1 year, I'm not so sure how good my story's going to go. So hopefully I can go a while longer without having to get open heart surgery. But as of now, I mean, they haven't said anything. Obviously, I have to go through all this testing and stuff first, but I wouldn't be surprised if it would be sooner than that. They said for the taller people, with their Z-scores and the average size of the aorta, for a taller person with a normal aortic size, the max they would want to see is 37 millimeters. And I'm only 2 millimeters away from that. So, yeah, I don't want to have an aneurysm and die anytime soon if I can help it. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I know I'm really wordy and I talk a lot. I get it from my mom, believe it or not. Yeah, my mom, definitely. So if you have any comments, or if you've had this issue, or if you have it, or if you've had the surgery, or if you've had stress tests, anything like that done, please comment and let me know, and I'll chat back because I'm pretty good at doing that. It's fun. I enjoy it. I love you guys. Like my video and subscribe because that matters and stuff on YouTube. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll try to update some point. If anyone comments they want to update, that'll be more of a motivator for me, but I'll probably try to put out some random update after my stress test in a couple weeks, and probably again in a couple months, and any other travel videos or whatever that may happen. I have videos of kind of everything, super embarrassing weird stuff from when I was little, and hospital stuff, and travel stuff to the Philippines and China, and all sorts of great stuff. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.